Welcome to ePathashala lecture series for MArch students. Under urban landscape design, we will be looking into the chapter Elements in Urban Landscape. It's such an interesting topic and problematic topic also. In urban, people find very rare places to live in, to build houses. Among this, where do you find some spaces for landscape? Our Government of India regularized these rules and regulations under URDPFI and even under CMDA. For urban areas, they have given regularization of spaces. So, any city in any form, it needs to have some open spaces. Among these, there is an hierarchy of types of open spaces, and there are concepts of landscape and its components in these types. These open spaces define the edge of the buildings and it creates a sense of belonging and a continuity between the building and the open spaces. So, elements in urban landscape in a short form, it deals only about the open spaces, the breathing spaces for urban sectors, and gives a relief for the people, and it is also a relaxation area, recreation area, or a open space which rejuvenate or give life to the urban forms or urban existence. Now, we will look into the main 4 modules in the urban landscape types. The first one, urban commons, brownfield sites. What is brownfield sites? A brownfield site is a site which is already affected with overcrowding or with enormous number of slums, squatters and densely populated areas, and city is sick. It needs to be rejuvenated or renewed in a good manner. We need to find out the loopholes or the deteriorating conditions of the buildings and eradicate that space and give some space for the breathing area for the people or provide an open space in that area. So, brownfield sites are mainly rejuvenating one under the problematic site or under some issues in the cities. We do have whitefield sites. Whitefield site is a new development, a new township is forming or a new proposals or extension of the metropolitan authority is extending this city limit to another area. So, new neighborhoods are forming, that is whitefield sites. So, most issues we can find in the brownfield sites. Already the urban population settled and the rural migration is higher and the city is slowly growing in all directions, and we can find these kinds of brownfield sites because they are not properly developed. They are developed under their own crisis due to industrializations or their job opportunities or other facilities. These are issues we can find in urban commons. Next one, formal landscapes, natural and semi-natural. So, in this we have to identify formal landscape, one is man-made or either it is a natural made. So, in the natural we can have a coastal belt area, we have lakes, water bodies, small tanks under naturally formed. Semi-natural, under temples you can find temple tanks, it is constructed by man-made. It is also a kind of open spaces and parks and any kind of falls or any other natural settings are all coming under the natural landscapes. These are, some are formal, some are informal, but city needs both natural and semi-natural components. Third one is the working landscapes. Even in urban areas, we may find some amount of farms, urban farms also located, and urban forestry is also located in the areas. For example, in Chennai, we do have Vandalur Park. It has covered a huge number of trees and the forestry. Even near the Gindi Children's Park also, there is a lot of area is covered under trees under IIT. A city urban form need not to be clean or without the open spaces. It may have some amount of farms or forestries according to their existence. The last one is the formal landscapes, parks, gardens and grounds. This is formed under the regulations of the government. Any municipalities or any regional area needs to have for this much of populations these many number of parks or these many number of gardens or these many number of play areas. This is formed under the regulation. These are formal, a city needs to have it. So far we have seen some of the common typologies which we can find in the urban landscape. One is urban field sites, a city is congested, and then formal landscapes, and then working landscapes that we cannot do any kind of development over the urban forestries or urban farms, and the fourth one is the formal parks and grounds and gardens. So, you have understood in the previous slide the four main typologies of open spaces. Now, how are these green spaces in a regional level, in a country level, we will be going to look at it. So, the title here is green spaces, urban open spaces and green space typology. It is basically a green space typology in an urban area. So, for a regional level or a country level, parks and gardens can be an urban park, it can be a country park or it can be a formal garden. So, country park is something like it is for a state level they will be considering these aspects. So, urban parks under the city level they will be considering it. So, formal gardens is something like they will be considering for the municipality level or the local level they will be considering these things. So, parks and gardens is divided formally into state, city and local bodies. Similarly, we have amenities and green spaces. See, in these amenities and green spaces there are informal recreation spaces. So, informal recreation spaces, here we have religious buildings, it may be a temple, it may be a mosque or it may be a church or it may be a crematorium, it can be any part of area which comes under the recreation spaces. And we have housing green spaces, every houses which has a front yard and the backyard, they may allocate some areas for the green spaces even in urban areas also. And domestic gardens which they develop only for their local the minimum needs only for their family. These are some of the amenities green spaces. And then we have communal gardens. So, community gardens for a particular society or a particular community or a particular area. Then we have urban farms to provide employment and to promote that agriculture. Then we have allotments. Then we have green corridors. Under green corridors, we will be looking into the rivers and the canal banks which is running around the city or which is passing through the city and create a connectivity to the city and the rural area. And we have infrastructures, roads and rail corridors, the pedestrian cycle pathways, all these will be coming under as a green corridors. That means here we have an opportunity to provide a green belt, to integrate this green belt along with the services. For example, pedestrians or cycle pathway can be provided near the roads or it can be provided for the under the bridges. So, pedestrian can be safe, they can walk properly, and also we can add a green element also in that. In between the roads we may have a medians, in the medians we may have a green belt, we can connect the green area. In the river and canal banks we can have some pedestrian pathways under their edges. and we can promote the pedestrians or cycle pathways. So, through these ways we can achieve some amount of green corridors in an urban area. So, we have seen parks and gardens, amenities, communal gardens and green corridors. These are the four main typologies we can see in any kind of urban spaces. The next is, we have seen so far the typologies and how do we have to give hierarchy for the types of open spaces. Now, how do we achieve a quality landscape? So, here quality, it lies with the development of the urban area and the urban fabric in terms of development block, a stage wise development block or a movement framework and a landscape. These are the main design elements for any project of an urban. In the landscape, how do we achieve this quality? It is only by creating the open spaces, water and its movement corridors, that is the green corridors and way leaves. We can have parks, squares and streets and the street furnitures, and these landscape can be hard and soft. So, we are going to look into the each and every typologies of open spaces in a detail, and what is hardscape, what is softscape and what is a street furnitures and how is it creating a visualization impact to the user, or it creates a urban design elements for the people or imageability to the city. We are going to look it into further how a city can achieve a quality landscape. There are three distinct task areas to achieve these qualities. One is either we can have great landscape characteristics either for the cause of good or it may be the cause for the L and its setting, dramatic setting or open space planning, and the typology, the hierarchy, the function and the frequency of existing and desirable facilities. Either we can create that whole thing into a new pragmatic manner, or within which we can create or do some renewal in the forms and give a good impact to the urban areas. It might be creating a landscape structure for the site as a whole or a detailed treatment, or it can be individual schemes and individual elements. So, we have seen the urban design elements for the open landscapes. For any project, when we take design elements, it is the open spaces only. The water movement corridors, the way leaves, parks, squares and street furniture and the hard and soft landscape. So, first under the open spaces we are going to look into the greenway. What is the greenway? Greenway, it is a way for the movement of people and it has some green element along with it, and we do have to respect the green element and we need not to disturb these green character into the services or integrating into the other movements. It is a network of spaces which is encompassing a cycle and footpath roads. It acts as a corridor, a wildlife corridor which enables the users to travel through urban areas from wildlife to urban areas. It can be a long pavement, it can be a stream or it can be a disused railways. For examples, the green fingers penetrating from the countryside through the town or city edge or into the urban core. This can be a connectivity to the urban and the countryside, and it can be creating an recreational green spaces for the users, and in that way we are making a strong link between the urban and the country connectivity and enabling the travel to the users and create some recreation spaces for them. So, in this picture, so you can look at it, there is a water body here and there is some amount of green spaces and there is a boulders, and some area is left for movement of cycle tracks. We can find some amount of street furnitures and street lamps, and it is provided under the shade of the trees, and there is some green element over here. And if the user wants to walk in, there can be integration of they can park the vehicle here and they can have a walk here also. There is enough provisions for all the facilities or all the amenities are provided under this greenways. So, next is the waterway. We have seen green, now we are going to see something blue. A city under its geographical surroundings, it differs from place to place, country to country, according to the topography. Sometimes a city can be formed under the belt of a ocean or a water, river. So, we have to include a waterway in that case if a city has the geographical condition of water bodies. So, we all very knew about London city under Thames river. Similarly, we have many examples. In Hyderabad, we have Tank Bund. In Chennai, we have Kuvam river. So, any city if we take, and Ahmedabad, we have Sabarmati river, and Yamuna in your Taj Mahal. So, all these are creating a waterway and it gives a strong impact to the urban user. It includes lakes, ponds, rivers, canals and streams. It might be rich in wildlife habitats and it creates an urban recreational value and can be used as a movement corridor from one place to another. So, you may find under the bridge there is an ample amount of waterway transport is provided. We can see the skyline of the image of the entire city area is formed around the belt of the waterway. Similarly, we have Queen's Necklace in Mumbai. It creates a similar impact, but we do not have these bridges. We have waterways which is connecting to the places. Next is a meadow. We have seen green, blue, now it is colorful. That is nothing but the meadow. Meadow is a public space for informal recreations which is located on the edge of a neighborhood. It might be an area where you have flood and plain comprising natural gases and wildflowers. It might be a wetland, it might be a riverbed, it might be a lake bed areas which is not suitable for any kind of constructions or any other settlements because these are flood areas. In this we can create a colorful flowers and give a natural scenic beauty and gives a relief for urban users. Next is the green. If we may wonder what is the difference between greenways and green. Greenways are naturally existed. So, green is something like it is informally created by man-made. So, we do have in any cities a cricket ground, a football ground or a polo. All these spaces are called as green spaces. Since they are not covered in the top, they have to left it open according to the play rules. They are also coming under the category of open spaces. It is an informal grasses, a public space which is associated with the focal point of an urban life. For an urban life, it creates a focal point and it is a major aspect. Any cities without a cricket ground, we cannot find it. It is must, a city needs to have it and it creates a sense of belonging to the urban users. It might be either a cricket or football. So far, we have seen greenways, green, waterways and meadows. Now, a public square. So, public square, it is an integration of a building block together with the green spaces. A formal public space no larger than a block, and it creates a focal point or a civic importance, a gathering space for a public. It is usually hard paved and provides some passive recreations to the users. In this picture we can see there are all around the seating area we may find some amount of high rise buildings. This is informally, it gives a shadow for the persons who are sitting under the pavements. Here relaxing spaces or open spaces for the users. It might be sometimes apartment surroundings, it might be a commercial buildings area, or it might be a office buildings area. We can create these kind of public plazas, or under any kind of public transport systems we can create these kind of public plazas. In Delhi we have Connaught Place, it's coming under the public plaza category. Next is the communal gardens. So, public plaza is meant for everyone, anyone can enter and anyone can relax it or recreate the spaces or use the spaces. But communal garden, it has belonged to a certain communities or certain user specific. It is a semi private space. It is not accessible to the general public. It is meant for the people who is inhabiting inside, usually located within the interior of a perimeter block, providing a centrally managed green space for a residence. So, we can find these spaces very common in any neighborhood areas or any township developments. Under 5-6 blocks we can find these kind of communal gardens meant for the particular community in that area. So, you can find this photograph and it is enclosed on all sides so that nobody can enter, and we can find some amount of hard pavements and some amount of green areas well connected and gives a sense of garden belonging to the users. Next comes as a private garden. So, we have seen public plaza, communal garden and private garden. Public plaza is meant for everyone, communal garden is meant for a community, private garden is meant for a single user or it can be for a family. A private space, it is belonging to the certain users. It is located within the plot of an adjacent buildings. So, it can be used only by the people who are residing in that spaces, and it is also a open spaces and gives some amount of a breathing area to the urban cities. Next comes as the courtyard. Courtyard, it is also enclosed on all 4 sides. It need not to be green, it can be an open area, it can admit light to the buildings, and many times it can be used for servicing or a parking areas. It is an enclosed open space in all directions to admit light and air into the building. Sometimes these courtyard can be paved neatly so that it gives aesthetic feeling. You may find some amount of an artscapes of some fountain is located over here, and here and there we can find some amount of green areas or pedestrian pathways and some amount of shrubs also we can find it. It is not a complete landscape area, it has hardscape as well as softscape. Majority if we look at it, it is more of hardscape area. Now comes the atrium. So, atrium is an open space inside the building. We have seen a building enclosed on all 4 sides is called courtyard, Now, an open space inside the building and it is a usable space, it is called atrium. Usually it is covered by glass. It can be used by semi-public or private spaces. We can find in all these things in our malls, in a shopping mall area, these kinds of areas, and it gives a thoroughfare to see through all the displays or the show windows of the commercial complexes, and it gives a seating area and a trapping area for the building occupants or the visitors. When they were waiting for a movie or in a cineplex, they can relax it, they can roam around it, and it is also a breathing area for the mall. Nowadays the emerging system, many malls are coming up with the good atriums and good lightings so that they can cut down the electricity cost instead of artificial lightings, and it gives a good breathing spaces also for the users. These kind of spaces, even it is coming up in a trend even in an office space areas. The work hours of 8 hours or 12 hours, when the office working people, when they get their break time, they come out, they relax and they rejuvenate in the green areas. It's a breathing spaces. Nowadays all office areas is well connected with the green belt and gives some amount of area for a non-air conditioned spaces, so that it connects to the nature and it promotes the healthy livelihood of the users. Now we have the edge of the space. So how landscape can be efficiently planned even around the edge of the buildings. So always building defines the edge of the space, and landscape occupies this open space, whether it is a park or a street or a fence or a pavement. Or in this picture we can look at it, a building with these edges and the green belt with the pavements, and the user is able to sit around this area and then do some activities in an open area without having any kind of a canopy or the cover over it. This defines the edge of the space, even how we can use effectively a space around the buildings. So far we have seen about the types of parks, the plaza, the communal garden, the private garden, the courtyard, atrium, edge of space and waterways, greenways, etc. Now how do we do this landscaping design in an urban area? What are the principles in the landscaping? So landscaping, it is focusing on the beautification of the outdoor terrain and also some interior settings. It connects the outdoor and the indoor in a very simple form, and it has a principles of art with the science of growing plants. A landscape usually combines with the principle of art with the science of growing plants. Now we are going to look into the elements of landscape design. They are divided into soft landscapes, hard landscapes. Any landscape design will be categorized under these two main categories. Under soft landscapes, we have plant materials, plant cover, water, landforms, that is the geographical conditions, and the soils. All these things will come under soft, that is naturally made. Hard landscape is something like man-made, that is the pavement, the circulation path area, any artwork, a transitional spaces and the edges, street furnitures and the utilities. All these elements will come under the hardscapes of landscape. Now how do we choose this soft landscape? How do we choose this hard landscape in a urban landscape design? We look into it. We have seen these examples in the communal gardens, public parks or public plazas, greenways, waterways, meadows, courtyard, atrium, communal gardens and edge of the space. All these comprises of soft and hard landscapes, which integrates the nature as well as the publics and the landforms in a cohesive manner, and to provide a green and aesthetic value, also high environmental value, to protect the ecology and the ecosystems, and to give a good habitual life to the city users. Thank you.